Welcome to the Darkstream. Voxday, voxday.blogspot.com, and unauthorized.tv. And I am here to tell you not to spiral. Now, first of all, I'm a little bit disappointed in some of you unauthorized viewers. People are saying, "What's the matter with the site? What's the matter with the site?" It's fine. Just go to the catalog. That's all. That's the best way to use the site anyhow. All the newest stuff is there. I think what happened is we're getting the site all fixed up with Wrangler Star's content is on there now. I think he's got 7 videos up, another one going up tonight after this. And we took the Zammy Pup stuff down because that was obviously not of great interest to the particular viewership we have now. We're still working with Zammy Pup. It just the 15-second video thing is not really what we're there to do. That's more of a Instagram type thing, Twitter type thing. And there's no need for people to make comments about things that have already been announced and, in fact, linked to on the chat earlier there. Okay, if it's on Twitter and if it's on Drudge, there's no need to let people know. Anyhow, the point is that it's actually kind of well suited to the topic, which is there's very there's no problem. It's just we're in the middle of doing some maintenance, and all you need to do is go to the link at my blog, click on unauthorized TV. It's all there, and you'll notice that we've made some changes. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that's why that homepage has some issues, which is that we had some extra categories related to me, related to Owen and stuff, and it just wasn't necessary. Vox does not have a Instagram page for the dogs. Hey, we got a Gamma. Is Vox still spiraling over a 21-year-old who's more popular and influential than him and Owen combined? Owen has way more subscribers, way more subscribers than little Nicky Titty Baby. So, no, he's not influential. He's irrelevant, which is why we don't waste any time with people who talk about him. If you want to talk about Nicky, go do it somewhere else. If you bring him up here, you'll be banned. We're not interested. So, and I've made it very clear. Every single time any Nick supporter says anything about Nick, I'm going to mock him. I don't actually have anything against him. But every single time you insist on trying to bring your nonsense in here, then he's going to get it. I don't care. I invited Nick to a debate. He ran away. Fine. I no longer have any interest in anything that Nick Fuentes does. He's not man enough to do a public debate. Okay, that's fine. That was an answer to a question, by the way. Somebody had asked what was going on with the debate. What's the beef with? Now, Nick Rekieta and I we get along fine. In fact, I actually talked to him just I think 2 days ago or so. So, just comparing notes on some various legal situations and that sort of thing. No, what I was actually talking about with regards to not spiraling is that I didn't want anybody to get all worked up over the fact that I happened to arrange my bookshelves a little bit. The last the last time, I, there was somebody who was a little getting a little OCD over the fact that changed the um, I changed the position of the Bible on my gaming table. So I thought that we should just tell everyone to calm down, take a deep breath. There will be more bookshelf changes coming. And so, you know, it's, you can see from the shelf above me, I moved the Encyclopedia Britannicas over and created some space for a bunch of new leather-bound books. Why do I have all the leather-bound books? Well, my goal is that over the next year and a half, all of those books on the shelf above me are going to be leather-bound books produced by Castalia Deluxe. And so, so anyhow, but it's interesting because, here's the challenge. How do we turn this perfectly good hardcover, good quality, decent layouts and everything. This is a typical hardcover that sells for, whatever, $24.99. So why are people so much less interested in these than these? And I never really understood it. I mean, yes, I like the idea of leather bound books. They look nice, they look fancy, etc., etc. But I didn't really understand the difference until we got into this. And there is really a lot of stuff that goes into it. I mean, it was, the biggest difference, and this is why the leather-bound books are so important, is that books like these are actually glued into the spine. Now they do a little bit of, there's a little bit of sewing. What they do, these are actually pretty high quality hardcovers. And so what they do is they stitch these end papers onto this little piece of cloth that you can just see right at the top there. And then the pages are all the pages are glued to it, and then everything is glued into the cover. So that's cool. It works great. But here's the problem, is that over time, the glue that holds all the pages together begins to dry and crack and fall apart. So the main difference, interestingly enough, between the leather-bound books and the regular hardcovers is not so much the leather. What it is it's the sewing. You can see right there, all of these pages are actually sewn together. And the paper quality is higher and it's gilded and all that stuff. But really, the most important thing and the reason that the books last longer is because, yes, the nice thick leather cover over the hardcover helps, but the most important thing is the Smythe sewing or the Smith sewing. And so, and that's what makes them so expensive is, the machines that they have are like, $100,000 to get them to get something that does all this fancy sewing stuff. So anyhow, I have now learned far more than I ever wanted to about bookbinding because it was necessary to learn about this stuff in order to be able to create this stuff. And then, of course, you've got all these other issues. Like, for example, what's the challenge here? What's the big difference? Forget the pictures and stuff. But what do the two slim books have in common that is different from the bigger book? Can anybody spot the important thing? What's the big difference between the Eco book and the other two? There's a very significant thing there that has to be accounted for, not height. It has to do with the width. Look again. Look very closely at the titles. What's the difference between the titles? Bingo, Fozzie Bear got it. Writing vertical or horizontal. See, the problem is when you have a smaller book, a narrower book, then it affects the way that you're able to print the titles and everything. And so, is that a big deal? Well, it does affect what you can fit in there. Like, for example, here, if Foucault's pendulum, Umberto Eco, came down, then you couldn't have this big, beautiful picture on the spine, right? So this is kind of like the level that we are shooting to hit. We actually want to do better than the regular stuff. So this is a signed first edition from the Franklin Library. Really high quality, great leather, great layout. They even have a thing. We're going to do this too. I think this might amuse some of you because, like the Franklin Library signed first editions, we are going to put information up about how the book was actually produced. So that, like this says, this signed first edition is set in Stempel Garamond. The display face Luther Fractor was chosen for its medieval characteristics. The acid-free paper is 50-pound Franklin Library smooth white. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and so it's all, it's all tells people exactly what the level of quality is. And so, so that's why it was so important to go and get a bunch of these sort of, a bunch of these old Franklin Library books, because we need to know how to design stuff to the different standards. This sort of thing always amuses me. Do you have a leather-covered book on how not to be a pseudo-intellectual boring person? I'm not a pseudo-intellectual. I speak 4 languages. I have, published 16 of my own books. And my ideas are regularly picked up by scientific journals like Nature. My hypotheses are turned into scientific experiments. Frankly, I'm far more of a scientist than Richard Dawkins is these days. But it'd be interesting to know, if you think I'm not an intellectual, what an intellectual is. But it's particularly amusing that the guy is here. Like, why would you actually come and watch this stuff? If you're not interested in the kinds of things that we're interested in, go watch something else. Go watch something that actually amuses you. You're probably not smart enough for this anyhow. So, anyhow, but this is going to be fun. I mean, we're already having a really good time with this because we're designing different front pieces for Castalia Library and Castalia Deluxe. The bindery was actually a bit astonished because all of Franklin Library's books have this moi and paper stuff, which is fine, but frankly, I think it's boring. So what we're doing is creating original end papers for each new book. So, for example, The Missionaries is going to have a map, a classic early map of the South Pacific Papua New Guinea area. The cover is going to be all new, title page is all new, and 16 books, huh? And no one still has heard of you. I get called by congressional offices and the New York Times and other institutions like that on a regular basis. I'm personally banned from setting foot on the Google Mountain View campus. People who actually matter and are relevant all know who I am. In fact, I called the head of legal at one of the big five and said, "Would you please do this for me?" And he said, "Well, why should I do that for you?" I said, "Do you know who I am?" He said, "Yes, of course." I said, "That's why you should do it." And he said, "Okay, no problem." So the fact that you think that people haven't heard of me just means that you're a nobody. Anyhow, yeah, if the Gamma keeps at it, we'll ban them. Don't worry. But it's sometimes useful to answer their stupid questions because it's a good opportunity to share some of the kind of information that I normally wouldn't talk about. When will Owen's book be available? I don't know. Whenever he happens to. That's funny. Dude, the Gammas just never understand that trying to have an answer for everything is a weakness. Trying to come up with a negative spin on everything is a weakness. Colin says, "Hey Vox, I briefly heard you speak about leather bonding books. You said 6 a year from the subscription. Can you explain that, please? What books will they be and who are the authors?" Okay. Well, the subscription is here. And no, that's not it. Sorry. I don't know what I posted there. But let me see here. I think let's see. I'll remove that. Where do I have that? Here it is. There. So what we're doing is we're doing one book every 2 months. The subscription is $50 a month. And so every 2 months you get a book. The first book is going to be The Missionaries by Owen Stanley. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's the best book we've published, in my opinion. The second book is going to be Marcus Aurelius, The Meditations, as well as a brief life of Marcus Aurelius that was written. I think it was the first one written by a Roman writer, and we're going to keep doing some fiction. Some of it will be ours. Some of it will be fiction that we don't publish, but that we obtain the bindery rights to. Classics. It's all going to be absolutely great stuff, and I think what you will very likely find is that a lot of it is going to be collectible in the long term because we're shooting for a very high level of quality. For the serious collectors, and I only mean you've already got like 50 books from Easton Press and Folio Society and Franklin. For the really serious collectors, there's Castalia Library, which is $125 a month. Same deal, same book, but this is like the Lamborghini of leather-bound books. Uh, Goat skin leather, uh, you know, all kind. It's basically top, absolutely top notch everything. Like this kind of stuff. This is the really good quality stuff. This is what Castelia Deluxe is going to be like, our regular stuff. So we're aiming for a high standard from the start, but we're really planning to blow it out for the hardcore folks on the library. So anyhow, oh yeah, in terms of how old should a boy be before reading Meditations? Around 12 or so, I would say. Um, let's see here. Oh, Dr. Zume said, sorry, I didn't subscribe yet. I was expecting an email. I sent out an email, but you might not have got it, or it could have gotten spammed. Who knows? But yeah, we're already in full production mode. We're planning to place the initial order with the bindery within 3 weeks. Um, the pup is wonderful, thank you. Uh, she's been fantastic. Can we get a leather-bound graphic novel? Yeah, you're going to. I mean, it's not going to be part of Deluxe because I don't think most people who collect Deluxe want to get want comics, but we will make a um, when we get to the 12th, after we publish the 12th issue of Alt Hero, we will do a special leather-bound omnibus of the whole all 12 issues. So that should be interesting. Um, and the thing is that there's so many different design choices to make. Like this, I was having a discussion with my son. He actually kind of likes this one. I think this is a decent but over the top cover, but the spine. I mean, what's going on with that spine? Okay, it's Tales from the Arabian Nights, and yeah, you would expect it to be a bit arabesque, over the top, etc., etc. And it's it's got. I mean, it's well done. It's got some nice plates in it and everything, color plates. But it's interesting that they went so over the top. I don't know what they were thinking. And so anyhow, it will be interesting to see um, how the collectors react to what we're doing. Um, because our goal is to really become the best uh, elite deluxe publisher out there. And so, we don't want to play in the ebook market. We'll publish our books in the ebook. I mean, hell, I just published Corporate Cancer last week, but Amazon killed the ebook market, and so that's really not the way that we want to do that now. Got a couple super chats here. I'll just go ahead and address them. What is the best way to help a Sigma when he's overwhelmed in one of his endeavors? Is it simply to let them know you're available if needed? Yes, absolutely. Um, you know, Sigmas have enough trouble with hierarchy that they don't want, um, and also, volunteers create work. I mean, they that's what's so difficult with volunteers is that are they actually doing more? Are they doing more work than they are creating for you? Because it immediately becomes a problem in management. Some volunteers are great. You just fire and forget. You send them stuff, they get it done, and it comes back, everything's perfect. Other volunteers are worse than useless because they don't do anything. They are constantly asking you questions. They're constantly wanting oversight and all that sort of stuff. It's totally useless. So that's something to think about. Do you have any books in your library akin to the standard of Castelia Library for context? No, that's the thing. People are not doing this. People are not doing this stuff. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing it. I would encourage, first of all, just understand, I am encouraging people to sign up for Castalia Deluxe if they are genuinely interested in what we're doing, in preserving these kind of books and this kind of knowledge for the future. It is important, and I genuinely think that anybody who actually has, books and reads books is going to find real value in it. I am not encouraging anybody to sign up for the library stuff unless you are already a serious book collector and aficionado, because you're just not going to you're not going to continue it. You'll sign up once, you'll get one book, and eventually you'll be like, why? What's the difference between this and the other one? Well, from your perspective, nothing. So don't pay more for it. If you're somebody who's into that kind of stuff, then you know why it's so relevant, why people are so interested in it. But it's for a very small number of people. I mean, if you look at the number of folks, we're basically planning, and this is just planning, so don't quote me on it, but we're planning to do around between 400 and 500 deluxe books. And we will report the print run, we'll report all that stuff so you'll know. And then on the library, we're probably looking at doing more like 25. So it's the library thing is very small, very elite, and only for the really, really picky, crazy book collector people, of which I am one, but that's fine. The Last Witch King, A Magic Broken Deluxe. They will both appear in Summa Helvetica and other stories, which we will do at some point. Marie Gollet says, have nothing to say at the moment, just throws $20. Marie, always much appreciated. Let's see here. Is Vox one of the greatest thinkers of our present day? No. I'm not even the greatest thinker that Castalia publishes. I'm not even the third greatest thinker that Castalia publishes. Martin Van Creveld, William S. Lind, that I think you could debate. You can't debate Martin Van Creveld. Steve Keen, can't debate that either. I mean, Martin Van Creveld and Steve Keen are two men who have fundamentally altered the way that people view their field of study. Martin Van Creveld, as the late, great Jerry Pournelle referred to him, is a necessary addendum to Clausewitz. Clausewitz is the second most important writer and thinker on military matters. So if you're a necessary addendum to the second most important thinker of one of the most important subjects that man has ever addressed, I'm not in that league. Steve Keen completely disproved the law of supply and demand. Economics hasn't even begun to address the ramifications of what Steve Keen has demonstrated very clearly. Iamblichus 2 says, Vox, best way to prove Muhammad is not a messenger of God and Islam invalid? Well, I think it would be to look at the prophecies. Look at the prophecies and see if they have all come true or not. The Bible is very clear that a prophet must always prophesy correctly. That's what I would look at. Ader is correct. Transformation of war is amazing. It is, and also the technology of war is nearly as mind-blowing. Could you comment on the move towards microachievement gamification in gaming and other industries? Well, it's just a scientific, it's the exploitation of a scientific principle of dopamine release. Can it be used for good? Sure. Is it just a Skinner box mind hack that short circuits free will? It doesn't short circuit free will. It just influences you. It's just an influence. There's nothing massively evil about it. Okay, you're banned. I already answered your question. And the fact that you're using that particular name indicates that you're trying to cause trouble. Why do you like The Dark is Rising more than Lord of the Rings? I tried reading book 2 of Dark is Rising and it confused me. I love them both. I wouldn't even say that I like the one better than the other. They're so different. You know, a lot of things, it depends on when you read them. I read both books at about the same age, around the age of 10, 11, and The Dark is Rising just made a deeper impact on me. Yes, that's a map on the table behind me. It is a campaign game map for an advanced squad leader historical campaign. I just began to read more. I bought and read 12 Rules of Life in May and just learned the truth about Jordan Peterson. Would these books be good for a decent reader but is looking for somewhere to start? No. You should just buy the regular books, the ebooks. I don't think you're ready to start collecting leather-bound books at this point in time. I would, take it easy. See what you enjoy. The new Kojima game is just walking, literally. He sold it as a new genre and it made a profit. The future of gaming is bleak. Well, it is at the moment. It is, but gaming always has peaks and troughs, always. And the current trough, we're going to come out of the current trough once the designers begin to focus on using AI and using speech recognition. That's what I want to build myself. That's what I'd like to work towards myself. When we have the resources, we will do it. Also, someone asked about Rebels Run. Rebels Run's going very well. The legend Chuck Dixon and I are just finishing up the first draft of the script. Let's see here. But, I think the key for a lot of this stuff is just learning not to get overly caught up in not just the drama, but don't get too caught up in the worries. Assume that you're competent. Assume that we're competent. Assume that we're going to make stuff work sooner or later. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but it will work. If you look at what we're doing on unauthorized, okay, it sounds like the home page is broken, and I'm pretty sure I know why. I think we got rid of some of the empty categories, and I think some of the things on the front page link to that, so that's why they don't work. But just going through the catalog, even if you go onto the front page, it says home and catalog. Click on catalog, you'll see everything's there. Everything's fine. And like I said, I was very pleased to get Wrangler Star's stuff up there. He's already got 7 great videos up there. I was just watching them to check him out to see what kind of stuff he was doing. I ended up watching all 7. And one was really fascinating. He was talking about some viewers of his had a car breakdown, and after the car ran out of gas, they were in danger of freezing. And he was showing you how to use the car battery to start a fire, but in a safe way that doesn't cause more trouble than it's worth. So, um, does it help to sometimes put down the keyboard and simply go for a walk, get away from the spiral? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, um, when you want to, um, I go to the gym or do something workout related pretty much every day. You know, um, once or twice a week, I do intense cardio, whether it's playing soccer or a high intensity course for 45 minutes. Um, and then the rest of the week, I just do 30-minute walks on the treadmill or 30-minute bikes on the recumbent bike. Easy. I mean, like, uh, and the funny thing is that it's really, really easy to stay in shape that way. Um, my uh, BPM is ridiculously low. My blood pressure is, you know, is very low for my age. And the key is consistency. And the thing is, the better shape you're in, the better shape that your mind and your soul and your spirit are going to be in. I mean, this is an old, mind, body, spirit thing. It's an old Greek concept, and they were correct about that, like they were correct about many things. And you can't just sit there on the computer. You can't just sit there, you know, um, you know, consuming stuff on the internet. I mean, I realize I'm talking to a bunch of people who are probably watching this on the internet or something, but this can't be all you do. You know, make sure that you walk for half an hour every single day, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are. It's good for you. It's not just good for your body, it's good for your mind. The better your blood flows, the better your blood flows to your brain. It makes sense. It's all connected, you know. Vox, will the Castelia Deluxe books mirror the library collection? Yes, absolutely. I joined the Deluxe program, thank you, but may want the library. I collect old books. I have a library. Yeah, what we're hoping to do eventually, not right away, but eventually we're probably going to come up with something where we'll let Deluxe people upgrade to the library on a book by book basis. So, but we can't do that yet. So, Colin says, thanks for the advice, Vox. I'm glad to have found Castalia. I'm going to listen to an audiobook tomorrow at work. If you look on this channel, we've got over hour-long selections from a number of our different audiobooks, and we're going to put more up there soon. So there's lots of stuff. And on unauthorized, for subscribers, and I think in some cases for non-subscribers, we've got audiobooks up there that you can listen to as well. Let's see. My problem is I've got 2 jobs, physical labor. I skip leg days as a result. Yeah, I don't really do leg days because of playing soccer. And before that, doing martial arts. I don't want my legs to be any more muscular than they are. I already have, my calves are already highly developed from soccer. And so the last thing I want is to add 5 pounds of muscle that I have to carry up and down the field. Do Missionaries, it's funny and entertaining. Yeah, Missionaries is the first deluxe and first library book. Hey Vox, any advice for a guy who has no problem working 50, 60-hour work weeks but has no motivation after work? I think that you probably need to get into a regular workout program. You want to get to the point where it just becomes automatically part of your regular routine. When I was working in an office in my early 20s, I got so self-programmed that one day I decided I wasn't going to go to the gym. my body needed a day off. I'd gotten pretty beat up the night before at sparring class. So I thought, okay, I just need a night off. And I thought I was driving home. And next thing I know, I'm getting out of the car at the parking lot at the gym. So that's the ideal point you want to be at, where it's just so automatically what you do. It's no more a struggle than remembering to eat lunch. Do you play indoors or outdoor? I play outdoor. So leather bound of the transcript of the Darkstream. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Great to see you, Vox. Great to see you too. If you could take any property and expand it, which would it be? I assume you're talking about an intellectual property like, say, Star Wars or Avengers or Harry Potter. Let me think about this. I think I would probably... It'd have to be Lord of the Rings. If I could do anything. Obviously, I'd be interested in Traveler. Because child of the 80s, Traveler, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. But Lord of the Rings probably has the greatest expanse that might be interesting. Warhammer would actually be interesting too, but that's probably a little bit too cheesy. Vox, I know you don't think we went to the moon, but have you heard of the Nansen transcripts? Okay, let me make my position clear. I have no idea I have no idea if we went to the moon or not. I have spent precisely 0 time attempting to ascertain the truth or falsehood of the claim. So I have absolutely no idea. But what I know is that I don't believe anything that the government says. Everything they say is false. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The CPI is not the inflation rate, is not the actual inflation rate. Z1 is not the actual total of debt. The Maine was not sunk by Spain. Every single official story is false. So what that means is I don't know what is false about the moon landing narrative. But I do absolutely believe that there is something false about it. How false? Is it completely false, or is it only 20% false? I don't know. But, that's my position. And if you're telling me that you believe that the moon landing narrative is 100% accurate, I think you're being foolish. I think you're being naive. And I think you are forgetting all the other times that the same organization lied to you. Is Harry Potter not the ultimate gamma fantasy? No, it is not. The ultimate gamma fantasy is Patrick Rothfuss, The Name of the Wind. It is so gamma, it is unreadable. Vox, honest question, why BB videos members only and UATV is 404? UATV is not 404. I just posted a link. I just actually checked it, and I just posted a link. You can go right here, and you can watch Big Bear's videos, you can watch Wrangler Stars, you can watch mine, etc., etc. in terms of why they are all turned off on our channels, it's because whenever you stir up a gamma swarm, the first thing that they try to do is go through your videos and report them to YouTube. Big Bear Knives above a certain level. So if you are Silver Pack member or if you are Gold Pack member, you should still have access to those videos. The most recent, I think, 7 or 8. So have a look and check it out. How many have signed up for Deluxe so far? I signed up and I'm stoked. Well, I don't know how many have signed up tonight, but I can tell you that the current number who are signed up is 263. So, and that's enough for us to get things rolling. Like I said, I haven't decided yet whether we're going to, I don't know whether we're going to do 400 or 500. I'd like it if we could go ahead and do 500, but we've already got the pricing set for 400, so it will work. Why are they cyber book burning? They even de-Patreoned Matoker this week. Because they want to destroy all competing narratives. Their narrative is false. That's why they can't afford to let anyone else say anything. Yeah. Blasphemy is not a good way to try to let's see. Nick Fuentes just tweeted he would debate you. Great. But I'm not on Twitter, so he's going to have to email me. I look forward to debating the Holocaust with him. Let's see. Should we read Aquinas? If you're up to it. Aquinas is very difficult for the... Oh, he said, okay, no, I guess it... So he's lying. He's banned. I'm so shocked. Well, no, I don't plan to put Friday's stream up on unauthorized. It was for a specific group of people for a specific purpose. So. Yeah, we're getting the shirts out. We're slow on that. I'm sorry. But we have them in process. Crypto Fashion will be getting them out to everybody. Any positive movement on the Matoker front, that's not something that I would discuss one way or the other. So, regardless of whether we are helping people or not, we would never talk about it. The new puppy is doing great. Thank you so much. So, hockey time. That's cool. I should have stuck with hockey rather than switching over entirely to skiing like I did back when in high school. Vox, what is the best Hawaiian shirts for casual wear? Not to wear one. I'm not a fan of Hawaiian shirts. Moonjazz Bear says, thank you for UATV. Have you seen Crow's video of the second son? Okay, everybody, you know the answer. I don't watch videos. I think the word needs to spread on this as it could be the sign of our Lord's return. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath. And you're welcome for UATV. Thanks for supporting it. Are conservatives aware they're speaking dialectic against the less rhetoric? No. They have no concept of dialectic and rhetoric. They have not read Aristotle. They're not very intelligent. They're not very consistent, and I wouldn't worry about them. It's frustrating to hear them shout, but that's not fiscally responsible to people who aren't. They're losers. Don't be frustrated by them. That's exactly what you should expect them to do. What's the best way to send you a Hawaiian shirt? Don't do it. Yes, they play hockey in Italy. Let's see here. What do you think about soccer, Fox? It's a great sport. Love it. Marie Golay. Public service announcement. Vox doesn't watch videos. That is all. And that is correct. What's the moral of the elite? Well, the moral of the elite is fundamentally Luciferian. It's what we as Christians would call satanic. They don't see it that way. Essentially, Prometheus, the concept of the light bringer, the rebellious light bringer, bringing freedom to man, that's their morality, that's their God. Outside of the Gulocost, would you consider debating something else with Fuentes? Pardon any misspellings I don't have autocorrect on. No, I mean, I've issued the challenge. It's specific. If he's not able to debate that, he is not to be taken seriously. Either you can speak truth about what you believe, or you can't. Either you have sold your soul, or you are a free man. That's really all I wanted to determine. You know, I don't waste any time whatsoever thinking about people who have sold themselves. You know, it's not my custom. It's not my way. Once I'm able to determine that, there's no need for me to think about them ever again. You know, I used to, be familiar with a number of Conservatism Inc. figures. I was once, recruited to have a high place in Conservatism Inc. I was chosen over all the other writers of my generation to be the heir to William F. Buckley at Universal Press Syndicate. But I didn't take the ticket. I didn't sell myself. And so, of course, just like Owen with Hollywood, I was left by the side of the road eventually, which was fine. I haven't spent any time obsessing over little Nicky Titty Baby. I don't care at all about Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is going to get destroyed. He's already taken the ticket. Once you take the ticket, you better serve your masters well. Because, this goes back to The Dark is Rising. Remember what happened to Hawkins? He betrays the old ones out of jealousy and pain. And as soon as he ceases, he ends up having to walk the earth for hundreds of years. And then he's cast from on high, which breaks his back, and he dies. That's what happens when you sell out. That's what happens when you take the ticket. I remember I was there when Ben Shapiro was agonizing over whether to take the ticket or not. He actually asked me for advice on it. I told him not to do it. I said, be your own man. Be your own man. Think about it. You know. Um, but obviously, we know we know which way he went. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who wants to keep talking about little Nicky Titty Baby is just going to get. I mean, I may answer you, but then I'll ban you because I don't know how many times I got to tell you, I'm not interested. I realize that gamma males and even some deltas don't understand how men of higher social rank think. Okay? We don't spend any time, just because we happen to answer questions that people bring up, doesn't mean that we're spending any time thinking about them, much less obsessing. You know what I've been obsessing over? How to design the spine of this. That's what I've been obsessing over. I have literally spent more time thinking about my fantasy football team than every single other right of center commenter, including Owen, including everyone today. And I spent so little time on my fantasy football team that I had to log in quickly in time to pick up a free agent wide receiver just so I didn't have an empty spot in my roster. You know, everybody thinks differently, and you should not make any assumptions about what I think about, what I'm doing, etc. Can people with average IQ have high IQ children? Yes, but usually there will be some high IQ stuff in their family somewhere. Nobody exposed me. That's ridiculous. Vox, I can't pay right now. That's fine. You don't have to pay for questions every single time. Do you believe there is a crossroads way of selling your soul, or is it just metaphorical? No, there definitely is a crossroads way, but that's not the kind of soul selling we're talking about. What we're talking about with regards to selling your soul, football is not for gammas. People who hate football are gammas. For crying out loud, have you ever watched an 80s movie? Let's see here. Don't you love it when people solicit you for advice and then do the opposite? Yeah, it's like, why did you even talk to me? You know? Anyhow, what I'm talking about is the global elites. And there are multiple elites. There's not just one. But the global elites identify the talented. And then they just offer them stuff. It's exactly like the music industry. People seem to understand this better with the music industry. For example, when I was in the music industry and you get signed to a record contract and you go down to you go down to record your single, your album, whatever, and they will always offer you drugs and they will always offer you girls. So, the record company execs, they take you to raves, they take you to clubs, and they just want to see how much you're willing to allow yourself to be controlled by your appetites. Owen's been through this in Hollywood. It's probably much more intense there. I don't know because I've never had anything to do with it, with the movie industry. Politics is the same way. They bring you up from organizations like Young Republicans and so forth. They identify the talented, Then you'll see people get signed, and you'll see, suddenly they'll have a best-selling novel, or they'll suddenly be appearing, they'll be brought in to be the replacement. For example, for the less talented people, like the Ben Shapiro's, he wasn't talented enough to build up his own following. So they brought him in and they used him to replace Michael Savage. They just handed him something because obviously he is sufficiently loyal to, to whatever, whatever they want, whatever they do. And so they don't and here's the thing that's important to understand. They don't actually penalize you. They play pretty fair. If you do what they want, they'll give you something that you want. And then they'll offer you more. And so that's how they reel people in. And then of course people get hooked on this stuff. It's really difficult, I mean, that's why Owen talked about this with regards to Nick Fuentes, for example. Don't you think it's a little strange that in the last, when I talked to Nick back in May, I had slightly more subscribers than he did. And now it's, 6 months later. We've run a very successful crowdfunding campaign. We've launched, we raised over $1 million to make the movie, all this stuff. And you know how many subscribers I've gained on YouTube? About 1,000. Actually less than 1,000. No. Yeah, it's a little less than 1,000, I think. On the other hand, Nick has more than doubled his subscribers, right? I don't think I actually think it's more likely that my subscribers are being repressed by YouTube because YouTube's not a big fan of mine, obviously. But when you see, like, if you see Nick go from 60,000 or wherever he's at, 70,000, if you see him go from that to 200,000 rapidly, then he took the ticket. Or if he suddenly does a book with a big 5 publisher and it's a New York Times #1 bestseller, all that stuff is fake. All that stuff is fake. And I know this because you can see the various numbers. For example, you see a book that's #1 New York Times bestseller. And then you go and you look at the Kindle rank and it's like numbers 7,500. I'm a publisher. I know how many books a book has to sell to be 7,500 on Kindle. It's nowhere near enough to get you on a best-selling chart. It's not very many, actually. And so, yeah, I'm not interested in the Bitcoin stuff. So, no, but see, Michael Wagner says the media is pushing Nick. That's why. That's what I'm telling you. The media pushes the people that they're told to push, and they don't cover the people that they're told not to push. Which is why you should never ever talk to them, because if you're somebody who is, all right, no more talking about Bitcoin, folks. Anyhow, when the media wants to puff you up, then they will interview you and it'll be a puff piece. When they want to take you down, then they will interview you and it will be a hit piece. And so I know perfectly well that the media doesn't like me. And I've also seen all the problems that it causes, even when it's a positive interview, so I just don't talk to them anymore. Stefan Molyneux was correct all along. Speaking of book lists, downloaded the digital and audio versions of Corporate Cancer last night. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't really pushed. I haven't really pushed the book much, but the ideas are out there. Um, the media doesn't know you. Oh, you poor little child. Um, I've been nationally syndicated by the media 3 times. I was the 6th columnist in the nearly 200-year history of the Pioneer Press to be nationally syndicated. I've been syndicated by Chronicle Features and by Universal Press Syndicate twice. I get email requests every week from the New York Times, BBC, etc., etc. I don't talk to them anymore. I don't even respond to their requests. Milo tried Milo tried to get cute. He actually just made a sarcastic response to I don't remember who the reporter was, but it was a Power Music says the truth is optics is important in politics. Yes. Trump uses optics and Vox calls him the greatest president of all time. Not quite true, but greatest president in the last 100 years. I'll give you that. 150, actually. If Nick wants a future in politics, it's not wise for him to accept the debate. Precisely. Why do you think I made him make that choice? I mean, a lot of people don't understand that I know how these things work. And sometimes I just want to see what other people are going to do so that I can know what their character is, what their objectives are, and so forth. I now know everything I need to know about them, which is why I have no interest in them. I now know all that I need to know, and there's no there's no need. That's why it's so ridiculous for you guys to be trying to turn this into something, because how I mean, let me put it this way. Jonah Goldberg is already what Nick wants to become. I I stopped talking to or about Richard Spencer as well as soon as I realized that he wanted to run a 1980s think tank. That's really what Richard Spencer wanted to do. He's irrelevant. Nick wants to be a media whore. Fine. Good luck. Go for it. I hope he gets a show on Fox News. I'll continue to ignore that too. You realize I've never watched any of his videos. I don't even know. I can't even criticize or make fun of him because I have absolutely no idea what he does. But I know who he is, and I know what he wants to become, and that's just not relevant to anything that I'm doing. So, it's Nick isn't doing incredible damage to the establishment. You have no idea what the establishment even is. Nick is trying to become part of the establishment. You know, and that was the that was the whole point. You know, so Um, Loren says, Nick is a nationalist, talks about demographics all the time, blah, blah, blah. Just wait and see. I mean, I want. Here's the thing that I do find slightly annoying about some of you. I warned you. I warned you that they were going to be producing nationalists once the Jordan Peterson atomization failed. And suddenly you got one. You know? So, you know, we'll see. You know, but again, I don't care. Not relevant to me. Shouldn't be relevant to you. Mirkwood says, is Nick the successor to Shapiro, but they moved the goalpost? Very likely. That's the... Eller, I just think it's very unlikely that Nick is a controlled op. No one's saying that. You haven't understood how it works. You know, that's like saying, well, I don't believe that musician, that guitarist, that they're offering coke to, you know, is a coke addict. Well, he isn't yet. But it's all about character. People say, why do you trust Owen? I trust Owen more than most other people because Owen was offered the ticket and rejected it. I know all about the fact that he had voted for Obama and he used to think this and he used to think that. He's a Hollywood guy. You know? I mean, you have to essentially, you know, a Hollywood Nazi is somebody who voted for George Bush. Everybody is left-wing there. You know, those Hollywood conservatives that they talk about, they're all way to our left. But it's about character. And it's about Christianity. And it's about who you serve. And so, you know, if you're willing to stand up for the truth, if you're willing to speak the truth and not hide behind, I was just joking, oh, it's totally irony, you know, and saying one thing and doing another, saying one thing and saying the opposite, you know, then you're going to be corrupted. You know, it's like the young female gospel singers who, you know, they want to sing a secular record, and so but they want to sing something. Well, I'm singing about love, but what I secretly mean is the love of God, right? It's all about taking the ticket. It's all about stepping onto the slippery slope. You know. Now, the thing is that there is a you know, there is you can always step off it. You can always pull away from it. You know, but it appears to be very hard for most people to do that. I didn't find any difficulty in doing that. You know, but it's yeah, just anyone who mentions Bitcoin, just moderators, go ahead and nuke them. I'm going to add Bitcoin to one of the banned words so they can't even talk about it in the future. Yeah, Taylor Swift started country. Now look at her. Exactly. Exactly. So anyhow, well, let me add the... wait, that's the wrong thing. Anyhow, so don't spiral. Don't worry about this stuff. Let your yes be yes. Let your no be no. And just you know, wait and see. We don't know what anybody is going to do in the future, but we can learn from their character. When you understand somebody's sociosexual rank and someone's character, you can predict their actions with a fair degree of accuracy. So pay attention, watch, listen, analyze, and learn. If it turns out better, wonderful. But at least you won't be surprised. So anyhow, have a good evening. If you haven't subscribed to Castelia Deluxe yet, I encourage you to do so. And we'll look forward to talking to you soon. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night. So have a good evening. I'm Vox Day. This is the Darkstream.